Jonathan Eig, King, A Life. Dive into the profound journey of Martin Luther King Jr., a beacon of hope and transformation, in King, A Life, by Jonathan Eig. This compelling biography delves into the familial roots, educational pursuits, and pivotal moments that shaped King's path to leadership in civil rights. From humble beginnings in Georgia to becoming a minister and mentor under influential figures, King's story is a testament to resilience against racial oppression. Through captivating storytelling, explore his pivotal role in landmark events such as the Montgomery bus boycott, his principled commitment to nonviolent resistance, his symbolic "I Have a Dream" speech, and the enduring impact he left on America. This summary not only highlights the key milestones and challenges King faced, but encapsulates his evolution as both an individual and a leader in the struggle for justice and equality.
From Little Mike to MLK. In the heart of the American South, a young boy named Michael King was born into a world shaped by the legacies of slavery and the harsh realities of sharecropping. Born in 1897 to Delia and Jim King, devout Christians just one generation removed from slavery, Michael faced the persistent challenges of racism and poverty. His childhood was spent in a rural Georgia school with rudimentary education, reflecting the limited opportunities available to African American families like his. Seeking a better life, 14-year-old Michael left for Atlanta, barefoot and determined. He stoked the fires of steam engines and eventually found his true calling, preaching. By 1920, he was delivering sermons regularly, and in 1926, married Alberta Williams, the daughter of Reverend A.D. Williams. The following year, he became an associate pastor at Ebenezer Baptist Church, working with his father-in-law, and began building his legacy. In 1929, Alberta and Michael welcomed their second child, Michael King Jr., into the world. Reverence for Martin Luther during a transformative trip to Germany in 1934 moved Reverend King to rename himself and his son after the Protestant reformer. This change marked the beginning of young Martin Luther King Jr.'s journey, a journey full of promise and profound challenge. Growing up in a time of overt racial tension, the young ML found joy playing with neighborhood children of all races until school introduced him to harsh societal divides. When his white friend ended their friendship because of race, it was Martin Jr.'s first daunting encounter with racism. Yet his mother's unwavering belief in his inherent equality fortified him for the academic and philosophical paths he would choose. At just 15, ML proved his scholarly prowess by secure early admission to Morehouse College. There, influential figures, like Benjamin Mays, molded his thoughts on social justice and nonviolent resistance, a philosophy that would guide his future endeavors. Inspired by these teachings, he was ordained a minister at 19. Recognition followed his dynamic oratory skills, marking the first time the name Martin Luther King Jr. was reported in the media. Despite familial objections, King Jr. pursued further education at Crozer Theological Seminary, broadening his understanding of nonviolent protest under the influence of Gandhi and Thoreau. He completed his Bachelor of Arts in Divinity and advanced to Boston University, studying under Edgar S. Brightman. It was during this time he met Coretta Scott, who would become both his wife and a steadfast companion in the struggle for civil rights. In the summer of 1954, the Kings settled in Montgomery, Alabama. Reverend King became pastor of Dexter Avenue Baptist Church, arriving at a critical juncture in American history. That year, the Supreme Court's monumental decision in Brown v. Board of Education outlawed school segregation, igniting hope and momentum for racial equality. Just as Martin would soon receive his doctorate in systematic theology from Boston University, the city of Montgomery would become the epicenter of a burgeoning civil rights movement. Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. stood poised to lead a pivotal struggle against entrenched Jim Crow laws, marking the dawn of his transformative influence on America. This phase of King's life set the stage for his enduring legacy, further defined through bus boycotts, fervent advocacy for civil rights, and personal endurance amidst assassination attempts. His journey was just beginning, with far-reaching impacts that would shake the very foundations of society. Rise of nonviolent resistance. On the pivotal date of December 1, 1955, Rosa Parks took a stand that reverberated through history. As the state secretary of the Montgomery NAACP, Parks refused to relinquish her seat to a white man on a bus and was promptly arrested. This singular act of defiance sparked a powerful movement, with E.D. Nixon and Joanne Robinson among those spearheading a boycott against the segregated Montgomery buses. Emerging as a compelling figure in this struggle, Martin Luther King Jr., newly elected president of the Montgomery Improvement Association, rallied the community with impassioned calls for peaceful protest grounded in justice. For over a year, the black community in Montgomery displayed unwavering resilience. Avoiding the buses, they walked, carpooled, and devised alternative means of transportation. Despite threats and violence, such as the bombing of King's home, they remained steadfast in their commitment to nonviolence. King's journey across the nation amplified Montgomery's fight, engaging broader support and establishing him as a central leader in the quest for civil rights. His charisma and dedication to nonviolent resistance became a beacon for further actions throughout the South, inspiring a sweeping movement against racial injustice. The year-long Montgomery bus boycott proved a resounding success, culminating in a Supreme Court ruling to desegregate buses. Yet, challenges persisted. Just days after the boycott ended, violence erupted again, targeting King's home and inciting attacks against the black community. These attempts at intimidation, however, only fueled the civil rights movement. Inspired by Montgomery's resolve, activists across the South organized similar campaigns. Birmingham's minister Fred Shuttlesworth launched his own boycott, facing deadly retaliation but undeterred in his mission. Recognizing the need for strategic unity, King helped form the Southern Christian Leadership Conference in 1957. This coalition of black churches and activists spearheaded coordinated campaigns for civil rights, with King, now the SCLC's president, at the helm. His influence continued to grow despite facing FBI surveillance and critiques regarding his associations and personal life. Undeterred, he delivered his inaugural national address at the Prayer Pilgrimage for Freedom, amplifying his stature as a leading voice for justice. In New York, tragedy nearly struck when a mentally ill woman stabbed him at a book signing. Narrowly surviving, King used his recovery to deepen his commitment to nonviolence. His visit to India in 1959 further solidified this philosophy, drawing inspiration from the nation's efforts to address caste discrimination. By age 29, Martin Luther King Jr. was firmly established as a guiding force in the civil rights movement, steering it towards profound societal change through courage and nonviolent action. His leadership would continue to shape the fight for equality in the years to follow. King's enduring dream. On Good Friday, April 12, 1963, Martin Luther King Jr. found himself incarcerated in Birmingham after protesting without a permit. It was during his time in jail that he penned the iconic Letter from a Birmingham Jail, eloquently arguing for love as an extreme yet necessary measure and critiquing America as a nation imprisoning its black citizens. Initially unnoticed, this letter grew to become a testament in the annals of American civil rights history. After spending over a week behind bars, King was released as a part of an agreement to gradually desegregate the city, marking a significant achievement for the movement. The momentum gathered pace as King and other prominent civil rights figures met with President Kennedy in June 1963, amidst plans for further protests. Despite Kennedy's caution against a major march, King and his colleagues pressed on, culminating in the historic March on Washington on August 28. It was there, in the shadow of the Lincoln Memorial, that King delivered the unforgettable "I Have a Dream" speech. This vision of a harmonious future resonated with over 200,000 peaceful participants and etched itself into the national consciousness. King's rising prominence was both a boon and a burden. Although named Time magazine's Man of the Year, he faced false allegations from the FBI aimed at discrediting him through rumors of infidelity. Nevertheless, King remained resolute, undeterred by intimidation, including an unsettling anonymous threat paired with a tape recording from the FBI. In early 1965, the civil rights battlefront shifted to Selma, Alabama. Here, King and the Southern Christian Leadership Conference intensified their campaign for voting rights. The events on March 7, known today as Bloody Sunday, saw Alabama state troopers brutally assault nonviolent protesters, an incident that unleashed public outrage and fueled the passage of the Voting Rights Act later that year. With growing confidence, King expanded his activism to address broader societal challenges, like economic inequality and housing discrimination. His criticisms of the Vietnam War, framed as an immoral diversion from pressing domestic issues, drew mixed reactions from supporters. In 1967, King unveiled the Poor People's Campaign to unite marginalized Americans in demanding economic reform. As urban unrest posed challenges to nonviolent activism, King's resolve to maintain focus on justice and equality did not waver. In April 1968, King traveled to Memphis to support sanitation workers striking for better job conditions and fair pay, a mission seamlessly aligned with his vision of economic justice. He delivered his poignant mountaintop speech on April 3, envisioning a persistent struggle for justice, a prescient closing chapter before his assassination on April 4. His murder at the Lorraine Motel provoked nationwide grief and fury, igniting riots in over 130 cities. Though his life was tragically cut short at age 39, King's relentless pursuit of equality and justice embedded him in the core of America's conscience. His enduring legacy continues to inspire advocates for justice, as the dream he championed remains a lighthouse for those striving to build a world honoring equality and freedom for all. In his unwavering commitment, King taught generations that true progress demands courage, resilience, and a dream that refuses to die.
Martin Luther King Jr.'s life, as captured in Jonathan Ick's King, A Life, reflects an unyielding dedication to justice through love and peaceful resistance. His leadership in pivotal civil rights campaigns, from Montgomery to Washington, D.C., significantly reshaped the landscape of racial equality in America. Despite consistent threats and attempts to undermine his character, King's message of nonviolence and unity resonated across generations, proving more powerful than any smear campaign. His tragic assassination could not extinguish his dream of equality and freedom for all. As readers close this chapter, they carry forward the legacy of a leader who envisioned an America where justice prevails. King's dream remains a guiding light, urging us towards action and empathy in the ongoing pursuit of civil rights and social justice today.